Jeep Grand Cherokee is unquestionably one of my favorite cars, even better than Ford Explorer to me personally, because it's a very spacious car, the powerful engine and the beautiful exterior. At least it looks like a proper car, unlike all those other ones, especially the German ones. I've never been a big fan of those. Yeah, I will quickly go through everything, including the interior, engine, and the beautiful wheels. This is a very powerful engine, 6 cylinders, 3.3 liters, 293 horsepower. It's actually one of the most powerful one I've ever used. It accelerates from 0 to 60 in like 5.8 seconds. That's my unprofessional measurement, let's say. And or from 0 to 100 in kilometers. It's actually very impressive how fast it accelerates generally. And let's just hear the sound of the engine, because it basically plays some music to me. If it can even be heard in the video, because who knows how it goes. I will also quickly show it from close up. This is all very beautifully designed, and oh my god, like whenever you drive it you feel like you're in Fast and Furious or something. These buttons allow you to easily adjust the seat. You can just move it forward, backwards. You can move this support up and down. You can adjust the back seat. And there is also like a waist support, which is very useful, especially if you drive long distances. And I've used it quite a number of times. Yeah, this is very common, like for adjusting the brightness of these two screens. They're connected. The brightness can be easily adjusted for both of them at the same time. This is the brightness for the interior elements, and yeah, it's actually very useful. And this is a very standard one for all the lights, like front and headlights, front and tail lights. Yeah, basically off. Yeah, daylights, low beams, and auto mode. I usually drive it on auto mode because this car is really smart. And there is also like manual parking, hand parking, and this one is for opening the trunk. There is more than enough space for me. Even the front seat is adjusted for me. I'm like 6.3 or 191 centimeters. I can comfortably and easily sit at the back. It's just when the seat is at the lowest, I can kind of touch it with my shoes. Yeah, you can easily scratch it, and yeah, maybe it'll be adjusted a bit in the future, because I can even feel there is like some mechanical parts or maybe plastic parts. Yeah, otherwise it's very generic here as well, like the wind adjustment, window adjustment, wind adjustment, what is it even? Yeah, there are like two type C, two type A ports, and there are two fans. You can easily just adjust it for yourself. There is this very fancy net for just stocking some drinks or anything you want, because yeah, that's how you can kind of, yeah, just put anything you'd like. Otherwise it's very comfortable here at the back. The interior of this car is simply amazing, because I've got all these lovely buttons everywhere. Here we have all the buttons for setting cruise control. Yeah, it's a very adaptive, one of the most useful things on any modern cars, I would say. It's just there is a missing lane centering. You can only have like active lane management, which basically will help you with steering back if you're about to cross one of like either of the stripes to the side of the cars. Yeah, there is like auto start for the engine whenever you're in a traffic jam or somewhere, or just at the traffic light. Yes, there is like yeah, ABS control, flashing lights, emergency lights, turn off the parking sensors, and the sport on. If you use sport on, it will be even much more angrier. Yeah, it will be one of the angriest car you can ever drive, because it will probably add you like 200,000 more horsepower. Yeah, it's very nice to have like this very simple wheel for managing the sound, and this one for basically like going through all the settings. It's just I would highly recommend them to move this one in here and just basically replace this gearbox and move gearbox, maybe even somewhere further, or just to the side, and have two wheels, one for managing all the screens here, and because whenever I drive, it's very complicated to kind of properly and accurately select any of these buttons on this relatively small screen, and then they should have better moved this volume somewhere here. That's my recommendation. Maybe they'll try doing it in the future if they listen to my amazing feedback. Yeah, there is standard like seat heaters for the passenger as well. Yeah, the screen can be turned off. Never done that before, first time doing it. Yeah, like AC, yes, like air circulation within the car, like blow to the legs, face, or just for the windshield. It can also be turned off. You can also do it like at the maximum for the front windshield and for the back one. I'm actually quite happy that there is there are pedal shifters on the steering wheel. You can easily switch to the manual mode just by pressing any of them. And if you want to switch back to the drive mode, you just hold this right one for like 3 seconds and it should just work. And there are also buttons behind the steering wheel which allows you to adjust the volume and to change tracks on the left side. Yeah, the right one is basically like for adjusting volume and muting it. It's very, very useful. I would say it's like one of the most useful ones. Maybe they should just keep these wheels here as well and just have these buttons at the back. Yeah, the windshield wipers are actually the most amazing one on any of the cars I've driven, because it kind of equally sprays all the water to the windshield, and it kind of wipes everything very nicely. Never had any issues. Even for my favorite Mazda CX-90, it would usually spray it in a triangle way, and it would be a very big mess. Here it's just perfect. It's one of the most perfect things, I would say. The biggest kind of disappointment for me, because it's like the lowest configuration, probably the lowest configuration, is just there is a missing auto switch for high and low beams, and I would have to constantly do that myself whenever I drive on any of the highways. Anyway, it can be forgiven, because the other Jeep Grand Cherokee I drove, it had everything needed, even the panoramic sunroof. Yeah, all these outlets, air outlets, are simply amazing. Can easily switch them off or switch them on. Yeah, disable, enable them. The biggest concern is just I would have moved this screen somewhere higher, because I have to constantly move my head a little bit too much, and it's just very annoying, and I still consider that it's relatively unsafe. Yeah, otherwise this handrest is very amazing, especially when you want to drive some in this particular way, or just holding the steering wheel is like in a normal way works fine as well. The glove box, second time opening it, is relatively fine. You can probably stack whatever you want there. It's just relatively useful. Yes, this thing can also be closed. Still, I would highly suggest them to move this gearbox somewhere else and just install these control wheels instead. And there is also wireless charging, by the way, with 2 Type-C and 2 Type-A outputs, and I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, the engine is roaring. Yeah, that's it for all the electronics from the driver's seat. The trunk itself is very huge, I would say. One of the biggest trunks you can get, and also, ta-da, there is like a spare wheel, which is quite uncommon for all the cars these days, because, yes, they just remove it. There is also like a domkrat, I forgot the English word, that lets you lift the car just in case you want to replace the tire yourself. And just to show you how spacious it is, I'm just gonna climb it back and just pretend that I'm a big piece of luggage. Yeah, actually, if you count like the number of 24 inches bag for the airport, let's say, you can probably fit around 11 or 12 of them, basically like going row by row. And if you fold the rear seats, it will be even much more spacious. I would say like maybe a few billion feet of space, a few billion liters of space. Yeah, and the quality is very impressive. There are also like some attachments for installing the net, and this clicking sound is actually quite premium, I would say. It's like premium, maybe even better than on any of those very luxurious 1 million up cars. These wheels are actually some of the most impressive ones and useful ones because the rubber is quite thick. For the Explorers it would be like maybe half of it, and here's like very thick or very high, and you can basically drive it anywhere in the desert or snow or rivers or stones, anywhere. And it would be even very hard to hit the rim itself with the sidewalk or with what I forgot the name. Yeah, anyway, it would be very hard to break or even scratch the rim itself, which is very useful because they cost quite a lot. I just wanted to quickly show the headlights because they're some of the most impressive ones I've ever had on any car, and here we go. The far beams are like amazing. They can literally light everything in front of you for like maybe more than 100 meters, unquestionably more than 100 meters, and it's better be careful with always switching from the high beams to the low ones because there is like a missing like after switch functionality. It's acceptable. And now I'm just showing all the driving in this very lovely city of Houston. I basically want to show how quiet it is and how comfortable it is to drive. You can just basically whisper to all your passengers. Yeah, these very lovely all-way stop signs, and just carefully check that there is nobody turning anywhere and drive. Yeah, one of the few things as well is just this manual gearbox. You can kind of hear the engine at 5,000 RPMs. Yes, there is like a speed limit of 30 miles, and I never do. And if you want to switch back to the manual, to the auto mode, you just hold this one for 3 seconds and it's in drive. Very convenient. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, I'm really saying, I'm very honest. Just replace this gearbox with all those wheels for controlling the screen, because whenever you try pressing anything here, it's just very inconvenient and it's very dangerous. Move the screen a bit up and it'll be simply amazing, because now like always moving your head around is quite problematic for me, at least, and too dangerous, too extreme. It's the extreme, I would say. Yeah, you can just adjust the sound, the volume with the buttons behind the steering wheel. It's very nice feature, I would say. Very quiet. FM, I need the FM. There are a bunch of Spanish radio stations everywhere in Houston. Yes, this is a relatively quick and simple overview of these very lovely American cars that I've been enjoying for the last few days. It's actually like one of the many cars I've driven. It's already like number 26 out of everything, including Fords, Mazdas, Volkswagens, and everything, BMWs. And this is like the only ones that I would consider driving full time, only in case if they replace the like gearbox with all the wheels for controlling the screen, like the main screen, and for adjusting the volume. Actually, all the buttons behind the steering wheel are more than enough, and I would probably consider getting one of these when I settle somewhere myself. It's one of my favorite, unquestionably one of my favorite. Unquestionably. Oh, I forgot all the other words that I've used instead of this one. Yeah, definitely, absolutely, and all that stuff. Yeah, until the next one.